NTV kusawemo. Akola obulungi asiimibwa n'abazannyi ba ttiimu y'eggwanga the Uganda Cranes basiimiddwa FUFA ku kijjulo kye bategekedde olwaleero ewadde abazannyi obukadde 7 okubibaza kye bakoze eggulo bwe bakubye Congo Brazzaville goolo 4 ku bwerere mu kisaawe e Namboole. Tulokkalire tugenda kubuulira biki ebirala FUFA byetegese. Gino gy'emitwe emikulu egya NTV kusawemo. Ekkomo ku bisanja, Museveni asuubiza okuyita bannaddiini ayambalidde Bishop Zack Neringiye. Baddereeva ba takisi Mityana beekalakaasiza lwa ssente ze babongeza buli kaseera. Obubenje ku nguudo, poliisi esabye abantu bagikwasizeeko. Mu mizannyo FUFA esiimye Uganda Cranes abazannyi bawadde obukadde 7. Saawa emu kuyiseeko eddakiika emu yokka nkwaniriza nnyo ku NTV ku Saawa emu. Omukulembeze w'eggwanga Yoweri Kaguta Museveni yategeezezza nga bw'agenda okusisinkana bannaddiini bongere ku by'obufuzi bye bafudde ensonga ensangi zino. Bannaddiini bazze bagamba omukulembeze w'eggwanga nga bw'atasaana kwesimbawo kuvuganya ku kisanja kirala. Museveni ayongedde okukikkaatiriza nti bano obuweereza bwabwe basaana babumalire nnyo ku ky'okuliyoowa emyoyo. Anokoddeyo omulabirizi Zack Neringiye gw'agamba nti tasaana kumusomesa byabufuzi.
Oluvannyuma lwa bannaddiini okukikkaatiriza nga bwe kisaana Paalamenti okuzzawo ekkomo ku bisanja by'omukulembeze w'eggwanga, Pulezidenti Yoweri Museveni ategeezezza nga bw'agenda okuyita bannaddiini bonna mu Uganda okusobola okuwuliriza endowooza zaabwe ku nsonga eno. Bangi ku bakabona ba Mukama bazze bategeeza nga ekkomo ku bisanja by'omukulembeze w'eggwanga bwe bisaana okuddizibwawo n'ekigendererwa eky'okwewala obusambatuko okugwawo mu ggwanga. Museveni era asekeredde omusumba Zack Neringiye gw'agamba nti talina kyasobola kumusomesa ku byabufuzi era ng'asaanisiira alisse ku kulyowa emyoyo.
Zack Neringiye, instead of preaching the gospel, he is busy teaching me about politics, which is not an easy enterprise because I really know quite a bit about politics.
Here is your opportunity to bequeath this country. Here is an opportunity for you to leave a legacy.
Yes, there are countries which have town limits. And there are very many countries which do not have town limits. Imagine Europe is one of them. Germany is another one.
Okwogera bino Museveni abadde ku ssomero lya Nabumali nga lijjaguza olw'okweza emyaka 10 bukya litandikibwawo. Anenyeza abasomesa olw'okulemererwa okubuulira abavubuka naddala ku masomo ge balina okutwala okusobola okwetandikirawo emirimu egyabwe. Ategeezezza nga gavumenti bw'etalina mirimu gisobola kutwala abavubuka bonna nga n'olwekyo balina okusoma amasomo aganaabayamba okweyimirizaawo.
There are over 300,000 government jobs. Uganda is now 34 million people. 300,000 jobs are meaningless. So the real jobs are in agriculture, industry, services. Please advise the children that go for courses which have got a market.
Ku kirwadde kya mukenenya ekizinye bannayuganda akayirigombe, Museveni akinenyeza ku kuddirira mu kwekwasa Mukama naddala eri abavubuka.
The ones who are going from things are the Christians and the Muslims. Why? Because of spiritual standing.
Ku lulwe Museveni essomero litonedde obukadde 8 eri omulimu gw'okuliddaabiriza.
NTV ku Saawa emu. Entambula okuva e Mityana okudda e Kampala e Kalubye oluvannyuma lw'abagoba ba takisi okwesula mu jjulume ne bagaana okusaabaza abantu. Bano bawakanya ensimbi ezibongezeddwa olukiiko olufuga ekibuga Mityana okuva ku 4,000 okutuuka ku 5,000 nga tebabibuuzizaako.
Ensimbi ezisolozebwa ku buli takisi etikka 10,000 kansu ya Mityana yazongeza ne zituuka ku 15,000 nga temaze kwebuuza ku bagoba ba bidduka ekintu ekibatabudde ne batuuka okugaana okukola olwaleero. Embeera eno ewaliriza abagoba b'ebidduka okutuuka okukuŋŋaana babeeko kye bateesa wakati mu busungu obutagambika. Bagamba nti ensimbi ze babadde basasula 4,000 kati nazo babadde bazinoonyeza mu kiwato nga mazina nga n'olwekyo okubongeza kuba kubalemesa mirimu. Wabula waliwo abamu ku bakungu abakulira ebidduka bagezezzaako okubakkakkanya okulaba nga baddayo ku mirimu gyabwe.
Ekyamande tugenda kugendayo tulabe nga twogera nabo bajja bawandiikira ebbaluwa sekuritale yono uliriza agenda kuwandiikira abantu bali ebbaluwa nga twagala obbasisinkana abakulembeze ba disitulikiti eno bonna begayiridde saba tukakkane obutasukanja
batongeze ku lisiiti nga n'abantu mpozi baagala abantu bakaitu bakwate mu nsawo bakama baffe abasaabaze bakama baffe tetujja kukkiriza mbeera eyo.
Oluvannyuma embeera eze mu nteeko wabula nga baagala kusisinkana abakulira ekibuga Mityana babategeeze kwe basinzidde okubongeza.
Mukaaga ziziyise ku Saawa ekibiina ki Uganda Federal Alliance kirabudde nga bwe kyolekedde okuwalawala akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kikakube mu mbuga z'amateeka olw'okugaana okubawa empapula ezibakkiriza okugenda mu maaso n'okutegeka akalulu ak'ekikungo ku kusalawo oba Uganda esigala mu nfuga ey'ekipooli oba egenda mu ya federo. Betty Kamya akulira ekibiina kino agamba nti akakiiko k'ebyokulonda bakawadde ekiseera ekimala nti naye kirabika kakyeremye.
Ndabanga gavumenti ekitidde nnyo kubanga Electoral Commission etandise okwesikamu. Electoral Commission eri supposed okutuwa form zetujjulizaako eyo teeka yeteeka okutuwa form kubanga form ntongole kakati awo wetukyesibidde baganye okutuwa form naye nga tebalina nsonga gye bayinza kuwa nnuŋŋamu yadde ya mateeka kati badde eno badde eri. Electoral Commission ejja kutuwa form kubanga etteeka ffe tutambulira mu mateeka gegumu ku makubo ge tuyinza okutuukako ogw'okutwala Electoral Commission mu mbuga z'amateeka oba okuyita abantu bonna bonna abaagala federo oba referendum n'abaagala eddembe bakkiririza mu ddembe okugenda ku Electoral Commission okubanjaayo form eno.
Ye Betty Olive Namisango Kamya. Poliisi ekubiriza abantu obutagisuulirira mu kulwanyisa obubenje ku nguudo. Obubenje bwa mmotoka kye kimu ku bisinga okutirimbula bannayuganda era ng'okusinga kiteekebwa kuvugisa kimama. Mu kaweefube w'okukendeeza obubenje ku nguudo ab'ekawulo beekozeemu omulimu wamu n'ekitongole kya poliisi ekirwanyisa obubenje ku nguudo. Ekibiina ky'obwannakyewa ekyatandikibwawo abantu mu kitundu kino Yes We Can Alliance kiriko abantu b'ekikunga abaasimatuka obubenje kyokka ne bafuna ebisago bekyeyambisa mu kusomesa abantu abalala.
Embeera tosobola gyagaliza mwana wo oba muganda wo oba omuntu yenna gw'oyagala kubeera mu mbeera eno si nnyangu.
Poliisi wamu n'abantu ba bulijjo abakozesa enguudo batandise okubasomesa engeri gye bayinza okukendeezaamu obubenje. Mu kutongoza kaweefube ono Lugazi akulira eddwaliro lya Kawolo Joshua Kiberu agambye nti eddwaliro lijjuza abalwadde ng'abasingamu babubenje ekiviirako okuba nga balemererwa okukola ku balwadde ab'endwadde endala.
Tusaba nti tubeere nga tulina enkizo ku National Medical Stores zetujja eddagala
Even then, nga limutuweddeko in between following the ordinary cycles twatutubegagala buli myezi ebiri sobola tusoluna enkizo ekimbaire tusaba.
Poliisi egamba nti okulwanyisa obubenje ku nguudo si mulimu gwayo yokka nga poliisi wabula gwetaagisa n'abantu abakozesa enguudo.
Eno ebe collective responsibility nti buli omu alina obulamu kirina okumukwatako ate tusirika busirisi. Omuntu bw'aba akuvuze bubi olina okuripootinga. Tulina toll free numbers ezosobola okukuba n'emmotoka eyo ntugikwata.
Abantu ababa bakoze akabenje nga bavuzi ba bidduka ne balabira ddala nti ono yakafunye yakoze akabenje lwa bulagajjavu bwe bandibadde bagibwako driving permit n'aba nga takyakkirizibwa kukwata ku mmotoka yonna mu ggwanga. Ekyo kyeyandikubye abantu mu mutima okuba abeegendereza kubanga abamu gye mirimu gyabwe.
Obubenje bw'oku nguudo kye kimu ku bintu ebisinga okutirimbula abantu nga kisinga kuva ku kuvugisa ekimama ssaako n'obutamanya mateeka ga ku nguudo.
Eddakiika ziri 10 eziyise ku ssaawa emu tovaawo katumbulemu katono ddala bwe tudda bino bye bimu ku biri mu kitundu ekyokubiri. Munnazzi n'olindo olaba okwanjula bwe kukyuse ekiremeseza n'abamu okuwasa. Songa mu Somalia aba Al-Shabaab bakoze obulumbaganyi ku kitebe kya gavumenti mu kibuga Afgoye.
To be honest, is one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero. To be honest, is one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero. To be honest, is one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero. To be honest, is one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero. be honest, is one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero.
NTV kusawemu kuoli eddakiika ziri 14 eziyiseeko okwanjula gwe gumu ku mikolo Abaganda gye benyumirizaamu ennyo nazzikuno ng'okwanjula mukolo gwa kitiibwa ogwesigamanga ennyo ku mpisa ennono wamu n'obulombolombo bw'Abaganda wabula ensangi zino embeera egenze ekyuka ekitandise n'okweraliikiriza abamanyi obulungi ebikwatagana n'omukolo guno nazzikuno.
Ensangi zino omukadde w'emyaka 7 n'okusoba nga yeesudde n'agenda ku mikolo gy'okufumbirwa ndala egy'okwanjula yeewuunya. Emirembe bwe kigenze gikyuka wamma gwe n'okwanjula bwe kutyo. Edda okwanjula gwabanga mukolo gw'abakika era nga teweetaagisanga kuba na nsimbi nnyingi okuwasa omukazi.
Nga omuntu bw'afuna oba alina gy'agenda okwanjula ng'afuna mukwano gwe n'abantu abakulu abamuwerekerako nga batwala n'ekita ky'omwenge bakisibyemu n'oluyina.
Ebyo bw'obinyumiza omuntu ow'omulembe guno asobola okuseka n'amaziga ne gamugwa mu kiwanga anti abirabanga eby'obutaliimu. Emyaka gino okutandika okulowooza okukola omukolo gw'okwanjula olina okuba n'obukadde obusoba mu 5 nga tonnaba kuyitaayita mu banno kukuyambako. Kino kiri bwe kityo olw'okuba nti ebintu bingi ebizze byongera mu mukolo guno abamu bye balowooza tebyetaagisa.
Nga mweyanjula nti ffe tuzze okuzaalibwa mu maka gano nga tewaliwo na bino byagga nti ate ffe tubadde mu nkiiko zaffe ate kakati muzze mutya mutwagala biki.
Ennaku zino emmotoka ziba mpitirivu n'abantu bennyini baba bangi abajja abawa ku mukolo.
Ogenda kwanjula n'okwata emmotoka 30 n'otwala abantu 200 oba 300 oluusi notoweerezaayo na sapooti.
Erimu kubikyusa mu kwanjula kuliko omwogezi. Edda omwogezi yalinga muntu mukulu mu myaka nga wa mu nju ate nga teyeetaga kazindaalo kubanga abantu baali nga batono ddala.
Twagenda abantu abo 5 kakati kufa 5 kwe kwali omuntu ayogera n'abakulu ate n'eri yabangayo omuntu ayogera n'abagenyi naye nga si byakugamba nti bagula gundi byammwe byakika.
Wafunanga mukwano gwo oba waki nti mukwano gwange oyo yamanyi ajja abeeyo ku mukolo guno yanayaniriza abagenyi nga kubayita kubaaniriza bagenyi
boogera nnyo ate ne bateekamu ng'amalala ate ne babanga abatali ku kintu ate n'adda buzzi okulabika nti atunuulira omukolo. Naye byonna tebyetaagisa. Ffe ng'abazadde twetaaga kintu kimu. Omuwala aleese omusajja we atumulaze atuwadde ebiggula luggi byebitabo by'omwenge biri bye nasoose.
Mukadde we amuzaala.
Ennaku zino tewali ayogera ku mukolo nga tasoose kusasulwa. Ssente ezibaweebwa ziwerako era eno y'ensonga lwaki beeyongedde obungi nga kati batandika n'ebibiina ebibagatta ssaako okutendekebwa era nga beeranga n'okweranga.
Kiri mabeere obunyonyi waffe bwe tuli abonyonyi waffe tuba mubazi kwini.
Aboogezi bano bakoze kinene nnyo mu kuwanvuya emikolo gy'okwanjula olw'okuba nga bye bakalabaalaba bamanyi okwefuga omukolo gwonna olw'akatemba omungi gwe bongeddemu.
Bali kasi 10 liwera yaba kwini.
Katembo ono wadde aliko basanyusa abakoze mu myaka bagamba nti oluusi atyoboola ekitiibwa ky'okwanjula.
Ne mujja mwanjula ate ne mwemuula nti ate bamunyoonya ate amugjeeyo ate ajja bazina.
Abamu olw'okuba bapangisibwa bupangisibwa batuuka ku mukolo nga tamanyi bulungi bikwatagana nnyumba eyo era oluusi obalaba nga babisoma ku lupapula.
Omuntu wakwasibwale osigala endagaya.
Balina n'obukodyo bwe bakozesa okujja ssente oba ebbaasa kubako era omukubi agenda nga teyenywezezza ayinza okukifuuwa ng'akiza munda.
Waliwo era nkonyi era wano mugenda wa binyonkondo. Binyonkondo kinnumye naye nebanga nti yalinawo gwaita bintu. Era naffe batugambye timugenda wase bintu awo. Netugamba nga twesiimye agenda bwatyo bwatyo esebo ye maama gumwe gwakweraga.
Ekirala ekikyusa ennyo mu kwanjula ennaku zino ye nneeyisa y'abasenga. Senga abeera muntu mukulu nnyo ku mukolo guno kubanga yavunaanyizibwa ku nneeyisa y'omuwala mu bufumbo. Ennaku zino basenga bapangisibwa bupangisibwa bamagwe ne bakola ebintu ebyewuunyisa abalabi.
Basenga muwamba bawambe temubamanyi naye luli omuwala yennyini gw'ogenda okuwasa nga yakutwala ewa sengaawe. Senga nti nkuleetedde omusajja wuuyo n'asooka akumanya ye ng'omuntu era wano mugenda okujja ne bwe mujja 10 ye aba akumanyi ate tewabangawo nkwekula. Naye akati ate ne batambula kubuna ekidaala banyoonya byemu bya kivubuka guno omulembe.
Ekirala ekiteereddwa mu kwanjula ennaku zino naye nga kyewuunyisa bangi ge mazina abaana abawala n'abalenzi abawaka bwe batyabula. Okuzina ku mukolo nga guno ogw'essanyu tekwandibadde kubi naye oluusi abamu bayitawo. Okugatta ebintu ebingi ebireetebwa abako. Edda omusajja bwe yaleetanga ekita ky'omwenge n'omutwalo nga biwedde. Kati abantu beetikka kuva ku byokulya, entebe, fridge, zi TV, emmotoka ez'amaanyi.
Mpozi ndeesiimyisaamu kimu abazadde b'omulembe guno bafuna ebyobugagga, bafuna entebe, bafuna ente, ffe bye tutaasobolanga okusinziira mu kufuna kwaffe.
Ebintu bino wadde biwa abazadde essanyu kirowoozebwa nti biremeseza abavubuka bangi ennaku zino okuwasa olw'essente ennyingi ze bigula ate ng'abagole b'ennaku zino abamu tebakyafumbira kiseera kiwanvu.
Okuvaako ebweru w'eggwanga bannalukalala aba Al-Shabaab bakoze obulumbaganyi ku kitebe kya gavumenti mu kibuga Afgoye. Amagye ga AMISOM n'aga Somalia kye gaakabawambako. Amawulire agavaayo galaga nti owa Al-Shabaab abadde mu mmotoka yategekeddwako bbomu agezezzaako okuyingiza mmotoka mu kitebe kya gavumenti kyokka n'alemesebwa era bbomu n'agitulisizza ku mulyango oguyingira ekitebe. Enjuyi zombi zikontanye ku bantu bameka abalumiziddwa mu bulumbaganyi buno. Omwogezi wa Al-Shabaab yeewaanye ng'agamba nti abafunye ebisago bangi so nga gavumenti egamba nti abasirikale 3 bokka be balumiziddwa. Okuva aba Al-Shabaab lwe badduka mu kibuga ekikulu Mogadishu mu August w'omwaka oguwedde beefuniridde nnyo ku ky'okutulisa bbomu ezitegeddwa ku bantu ne mu mmotoka okulumba enkambi za gavumenti n'eza African Union. Dakiika 23 zeziyise ku ssaawa emu. Tovaawo katuddemu tumulimu katono bwe tuvaawo tugenda kulaga kiki ekiri mu nkambi ya Uganda Cranes.
tienes.
Tukyagenda maaso ne NTV ku Saawa mu mizannyo olwaleero. Omuganda agamba nti akola obulungi asimibwa n'abazannyi ba ttiimu y'eggwanga the Uganda Cranes olwaleero baweereddwa ensimbi eziriyo mu bukadde 7 olw'obuwanguzi bwe batuuseeko olunaku lwajjo. Uganda yawangudde ttiimu ya Congo Brazzaville goolo 4 ku bwereere. President wa FUFA Lawrence Mulindwa yabakwasizza ensimbi zino.
Ifu omugole kyagwa ku nchacha za bba aba Uganda Cranes kibagwiridde ttiimu ya Congo Brazzaville ne baleka nga bagikubye goolo 4 ku bwereere kibazaalidde ebibala. Abakulira FUFA bwe babagondomoddeko obukadde 7 bazigabane. Ensimbi zino President wa FUFA Lawrence Mulindwa azikwasizza Kapiteeni Ande Mwesigwa ku kyemisana kyagabudde ttiimu eno wano mu Kampala.
FUFA tweyama tujja kweyongera okulaba nti ttiimu eno tugisakirira esobole okutuukiriza ekyo tusigaze omupiira omunene gumu ndowooza draw ezinaaba nga ziwedde gye tulina okuzannya mwezi gw'omwenda era tusuubira nti tujja kukola entegeka yonna yeetaagisa okulaba nti ttiimu eno tugiyita mu budde esobole okutendekebwa tusobole okulabira ddala nti ekirooto kyaffe ekyokugenda mu South Africa omwaka ogujja mu African Cup of Nations Finals tutuukayo.
Nga bwe bagamba nti omuyizi akumma n'akunyumiza n'abazannyi ba Uganda Cranes batenda obuzibu obwabadde mu mupiira gwa jjo naye nga bagamba nti ttiimu yonna gye bannazzaako kakugijjuutuka.
Bonna abaakwalifayinga mu Nations Cup ku mulundi ogwo nze kulanga nsuubira nti bonna tubasobola era nsuubira nti yenna gwe banaabatuwadde tujja kusobola okumwaŋŋanga.
Ndowooza buli omu alabyeko nti owaka tetuli bangu bakuba newankubadde nti waliwo era ogwatulema ogwali omukulu ennyo ogwa Kenya naye ndowooza nti anaabaze ena tuba tusobola okufuna result ewaka ne kwawe bwe tuba tuplaninze bulungi.
Yenna gwe bana batuwadde kanoye kayamanyi kubanga ttiimu yaffe njesiga ttiimu y'abaana abato bali willingly bonna baagala era manyi tujja kukola bulungi tujja kukola beta nga tukwanidde wano nga twasamba.
Cranes kati erindiridde emu ku ttiimu ezaali mu mpaka za Africa Cup of Nations gyegenda okusamba nayo mu mwezi gw'omwenda. Anaawangula munne mu luzannya oluddako yagenda okukiika mu mpaka ez'omwaka ogujja. Sam Mpoza, NTV.
Webale nnyo Sampoza. Mu mipiira emirala egya Africa egyasambiddwa olunaku lwajjo, Misiri yawanguddwa Central African Republic mu Cairo goolo 3-2 ate Algeria nekuba Gambia goolo 4-1 ne Malawi nekuba Chad goolo 2 ku bwereere. Cameroon yalumye n'ogwengulu okuwangula Guinea Bissau goolo 1 ku bwereere ate yo Sierra Leone newangula Sao Tome goolo 4-2. Cape Verde yakubye Madagascar goolo 3-1. Namibia negwa maliri ne Liberia nga tewali atebye munne ate Nigeria nekuba Rwanda goolo 2 ku bwereere. Emipiira emirala gisambiddwa leero era tujja kuba tukubuulira biki ebigivuddemu.
Are you ready to drink at the table of men?
Olwakadde tetugenda kuwa ntebereza ya budde olunaku lw'enkya naye ng'olwaleero wano mu kibuga ekikulu Kampala akasana kasiibye kaaka so nga mu bitundu ebirala tukitegeddeko nti obudde bubadde bwa kimpowooze. Farida Nakazibwa mbaagaliza wiiki ennungi mubeere bulungi mweraba enkya NTV akawungezi egenda kubaawo nnyo ne Frank Walesimbi.
NTV, turning on your world. Coming up.
Welcome to this edition of Who We Are. Last week we were in Mbale, where we found a Jewish community struggling to fight extinction in the remote Nabugoye Hills. And today we share in the experience of a people that have for a long time been misunderstood to be fierce. This is because these semi-nomadic herders, the Karamajongs, have not received much exposure. But who are the Karamajongs? In order to understand who they are, let's roll back to the 1600s to trace their origins. The Karamajongs are Nilotic herders who migrated south from Abyssinia, where population explosion made it harder and harder for them to find water and pastures for their animals. They first settled at Mount Apollon, where the Turkana live in present-day Kenya. The group that would become the Karamojong headed west of Mount Apollon to Mount Moroto and later descended into the fertile valley of the Apuli River, where some water stood even in the dry seasons. The younger generation later spread to occupy Teso and Lango, and the elderly people who were too tired to continue stayed behind with their families. Thus the name Karamojong, which roughly translates into the tired old man who stayed behind. We travel to the most remote land occupied by the Karamojong, Kabong district. We use the eastern road through Mbale, Soroti and Abim districts. Kabong is so remote that taxis do not go there, so the only means of transport are trucks that are loaded with cargo at the bottom and passengers on the top. In Abim, we passed through this rather forested hill, which has been a danger zone for many years. The warriors would hide amidst the trees and rocks and attack civilians. Now that the warriors have been disarmed, the area is relatively safe. In fact, some people are coming back and starting to resettle. Farther ahead near Beam Trading Center, there are some Karamojong who are at least developed and do not live in manyatas anymore. Feeding the family and cultivation are roles which are shared between the men and women. From Abim all the way to Kotido and Kabong, we pass through semi-arid Karamoja that has little or no vegetation, sandy soils and thorny shrubs. After about 600 kilometers of travel, we reach our destination, Kabong district, the most remote region of Karamoja. Kabong was recently carved out of Kotido. Despite what we all have been made to believe about the attitude of Karamojongs, the reception we received here is unbelievable. The Karamojongs are very hospitable, kind and pleasant people. Without electricity or piped water and commodities almost double the price, it is indeed very hard to survive. Yet in the midst of all these seemingly impossible conditions, a peaceful and content community of Karamojong lives. The Karamojongs are subdivided into clans, and the clans include the Bakura, Jie, Matheniko and the Dodoth in Kabong, with whom we are going to commune for a few days. When we return, we'll look at a typical Karamojong Manyata family. Dodoth homesteads are larger than those of other Karamojong and are more isolated from one another and are not built in open spaces. Rather, the homesteads are located at the foothills for protection from strong winds, and is also a strategic place in the case of any enemy attacks. Surrounding the homestead, upright poles are thrust into the earth, intertwined with branches and packed with mud and cow dung, forming a sturdy wall with only one or two small openings. As many as 40 people live in one homestead. Each wife has her own hut and fireplace, and a dozen girls often build huts of their own next to their mother's huts. A dozen boys also build a larger men's house where they live before marriage. The Karamojong speak a language that sort of sounds like Ateso. This is not a surprise, as the Karamojongs are close cousins to the Itesots. Among most Karamojong peoples, men living within a homestead are related by descent through male forebearers. The Manyata we visit is headed by Iluka Longolomeyo, who has 6 wives and over 20 children.
Juarangatu to yabutu to anyere apete olomani kwere apana na gibi apana goro.
Iluka lives in this Manyata with his 6 younger brothers and cousins.
Abala ngani edugere la regarding la biomine.
Even though there is one leader for an entire Manyata, the different families in it are headed by husbands who have more than one wife. During our Manyata, we witness the roles women and men play in maintaining a home. A woman is supposed to feed the family and take care of the general welfare of a home. Whilst the man takes care of cattle together with the younger boys as he grooms and teaches them on how to be good shepherds and pastoralists. This is Nake, a wife to Losuk, a cousin of Ilukal. She wakes up in the morning and starts preparing food for her family. The staple food for the Karamajongs is sorghum, maize, meat and bulrush millet. It's a green millet grain that is common only here in Karamoja. Since the Karamajongs are found in one of the most remote areas of the country, modern civilization has been rather slow in catching up with them. What more do women do in order to make a little money? We shall unfold that next on Who We Are. As a way of making money to buy beads, bangles and Maasai sheets amongst other necessities, the Karamajong women engage in making a local brew known as pete. The process is same as local brew. This is incorporated in their daily work, and inevitably a big and constant challenge which they face in this semi-arid part of Uganda is that of water. The region experiences more dry seasons and less rainy seasons, so the women and girls have to do all they can in order to find any trace of water in this harsh and uncompromising climate. Women and girls travel long kilometers in search of water in the scorching sun. But it's not only the people who are affected, but also the animals of this pastoral tribe are adversely affected by this scarcity of water. Much of Karamoja is dry, including all the seasonal rivers, with the exception of River Apule in the Cradle Land. Whilst the women do all these things to try and maintain their families, some men and young boys take the cattle for grazing. Other men stay at home with the elderly ones and spend the entire day sniffing tobacco and generally doing nothing. Children do not go to school, and the girls are trained early on how to become good wives who will provide for their families.
Bas, yo pone to tinga ya bede. Ta chamu ya bede lokoka. Ani ka chamu ya bede lokoka. Haya oloko. Ani ana nguni ada tanga itu alo gdori alo. Wo tai bas. Karama nyilope. Ulu kudong gogunege.
The Karamojongs live and die for cattle, the determinant of seemingly everything in a pastoral life.
Ebe roba. Ebe ini kiliada tu tiaranga itu. Ani apolo yang eka katam tu itu no. Ebe ini peleda. Ava unio, ani ava unio. Minno kile. Pene kidia unanga itu. Ota, hauna malege. Ato yare yang. Apake.
This is what drives many to live on the edge, as nomadic warriors are constantly on the move to find water, to increase their herds, to defend their own, and to get cattle for dowries. We shall explore the Karamojongs and their nomadic tendencies on the next edition of Who We Are. That's it for this week. Welcome to this edition of the Art and Design Show. Tonight, we meet fashion designer Santa Anzo with experience the art of Matali, the Islamic dance, and much more. Byamugisha, also known as Cassie, is a realist with a passion for wildlife. In fact, he wouldn't mind to draw and paint them for eternity. A realist is one who portrays everyday characters, situations, dilemmas, and objects, all in a true life manner. We caught up with him at home and he told us what makes him tick.
I think I started way back in school, and one time our art teacher brought us a model to draw, and I found out I had pulled out her face successfully. So that's when I realized at least I had some talent.
Mac goes out to different places, observes, takes photographs, analyzes them, and finally recreates his impressions onto paper.
Paintings. And as you can see, it has a small problem. It's cracking. It's because I didn't know what to use. So the primer I used was a poor one. So after painting the piece, it started to crack and flake. So that's why I'm keeping it. And that's why I insist that people, starters, should insist on using quality paints.
Mac works with a number of media. He can use pencil, pen, and paints such as acrylics, water or oil paints, or whatever inspires and amazes him.
Right now I'm using acrylics because they're water-based, they dry fast.
Like many artists, Mac faces the challenge of people not truly appreciating the depth of his work and the effort that he puts into executing each unique masterpiece.
At least would like to see more you get art and buying some art. So that is the first challenge I see. Secondly, selling or marketing art in Uganda is really hard. So we have to find market elsewhere, outside the country.
In order to expand the market for his products, he has held exhibitions in East Africa, although his art in art galleries worldwide.
My future plans are to have a big exhibition abroad, an exhibition in one of these big galleries, say something like Tate Gallery in London, or these big galleries where you can really break even and get a name from. So I'm looking forward to more exhibitions and maybe some workshops where we can learn some more styles.
Each one of us is inspired by a passion within and those with whom we share talents. This in turn shapes our lives.
I liked Taga's works. Actually, he inspired me to do art because when I was just coming up, starting up art, I would go over to his place and look at art, forward on what to do, materials to use.
And so for now, the sky continues to be the limit for Mac. In this part of the art and design show, we bring you what is commonly referred to as Matali, a musical entertainment witnessed at Islamic weddings and functions. We converged with the Islamic community at Prince Kasim Kakungulu's home during the Eid Mubarak celebrations to witness this Islamic art form.
We picked that culture from the coast, especially the East African coast and Zanzibar. It has got a Swahili background. That's why we picked it. And I believe also the Swahilis picked it from the Arabs from Oman. So you can trace its origin from the Middle East via the East African coast to Uganda. It was introduced here possibly about 1844 when the Arab traders came to Uganda.
Matali is simply a fusion of percussion of locally made musical instruments to produce a distinct, sharp and wonderful sound. The dance adds flavor to the instruments in praise of what Allah has done and to celebrate other occasions like marriages and the birth of a child. The dancers lined up in front of the instrumentalists, moving rhythmically and with a lot of energy, shaking and praising Allah. Clearly, it's not about size and age, but as long as you can dance and move to the beat. We met the leader of the Matali group, Haj Khalifa Ahmed Mukasa, who tells us more.
Kyekivuga kyaffe eky'obusiraamu bwe tuba nga tusanyuka getukuba era kizibu nnyo omuntu okusanga amataali awantu wonna n'olowooza nti waliwo banywa mwenge naye ekivuga kyaffe eky'abasiraamu mataali gayina enzikira yaago era byo tetuba nga abeesiba nga abazina ngoma.
While the music played, the children played, the women shared, and men discussed. The food that had been fasted for in days was in plenty and for all to enjoy. Singing, praising, and dancing to the goodness of God will leave you with this unique festivity music. Like Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "I have a dream." Many of us think that dreams are for those in privileged families, high status, and perhaps the well-educated. Well, in this part of the show, we meet a fashion designer who had a dream and went out of her way to make it happen. Santa Anzo's mission is to engage the fashion industry into showcasing African-inspired creations, modeling and shaping people's mindsets into being proud of their own origins.
I'm known for, first of all, my innovation, creativity. I consider myself quite humbly a trendsetter. All the areas that I'm operating into were originated by myself and my team. It's taken a lot of prayer, a lot of prayer for me. And also a lot of panel beating of especially who I am. I had to first of all let go of some of the things that were in my way before I got to where I am right now, and they were actually hindering my growth.
Arapapa, well known for innovative, unique, simple, and elegant designs, recently showcased at the Uganda North America Convention at the Yacht Regency Hotel in San Francisco. Santa gets to tell us what the event was like.
First of all, we were invited for last year's in New York, and then, we just had Fashion Week, and lots of activities running. And so it was pushed to, we pushed it to this year. And I must say the whole trip was, worthwhile.
As a designer who has lived her dream, Santa, with her warm and outgoing personality, has had an opportunity of helping others, especially in the same industry, by linking up designers from different countries to showcase their designs at the Uganda International Fashion Week.
We have not moved as one fashion designer and her models, but we've moved as Uganda. And so, our next dream is to move as Africa, really.
With this frame of mind, Santa and her team are ready to focus on the Commonwealth meeting due in November to showcase Uganda and its greatness through fashion and style.
CHOGM, is bigger than the Uganda International Fashion Week, number one. CHOGM is about showcasing Uganda, showcasing our creativity, showcasing our resources and all. And that's what Fashion Week is all about. And so, as the custodians of Fashion Week, my team and I felt that it is very important that we give our all to CHOGM. So that said, that simply means that this year we might actually see no Fashion Week, but we having a big fashion party, to say thank you to everybody who's been part of the planning process since January. But we have gotten a request to actually make sure that we give our all to CHOGM.
Santa is greatly inspired by her father, who is always mindful of ideas that build the nation, the President of Uganda, Dr. Martin Alike, and others like Maya Angelou.
The youngsters, the next generation, is almost at a loss when it comes to choosing role models, identifying with successful people. Like I always say, our people do not tell you the way it is. They'll tell you the rosy bits, the bits that they achieved. They will not tell you their challenges or their failures. And so for me, I'm inspired so much by those women who tell me all the nitty-gritties, That way I identify with them, both their challenges, their failures.
It's not wrong for Santa therefore to be proud of where her talent has taken her. She has rubbed shoulders with renowned R&B artists Asha Raymond, Ntare Mwine, Monica Kaufman, as seen at the dinner hosted by the mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, Jack Ellis. With success stories like hers, one's dream is just a start from being a reality. You and I could be telling our stories next. Baksimba, Nankasa, Ding Ding and the rest are the Ugandan folk classical art forms that reassure of a people's roots and origins. In today's contemporary times, these folks have been adapted and given a twist to fit the times. This is the kind of music Sarah Ndagire does.
I've gone back to my roots. Get traditional beats, traditional rhythms, traditional melodies, and used them in this recording. I've used some of the traditional songs, but changed a bit, fused them. So this time I did fusion. That's for the new album. So I can say this style is more like roots.
The roots approach to music emphasizes the diversity of Ugandan musical traditions, the forebearers of contributions of musicians working in these traditions today.
I can tell you songs like Katitira, this is an originally traditional song, but I didn't go the way they sing it. I just changed it to Zouk, and everybody loves it. The kids love it. Or traditionally that song goes like Titi katitira karaire kabaine mnywani wako Titi katitira. So that's the way it goes. But I changed it and we'll sing like Titi katitira Titi katitira Akama sindene kekonza Akahoi mane kechanga Akachiwale ni kekonza Akatoro dora nako ni kechanga mama Titi katitira Titi katitira Titi katitira Titi katitira.
Before the dominance of recorded music, concerts would be the only opportunity one would generally have to hear musicians play. Sarah has made her mark as being able to perform her music live to an audience, a style that is not very common in the Ugandan music scene today. She also dabbles as a songwriter and composer.
A sleeping baby tied to her back. It just happens. Sometimes I get a melody and I try to fix the words in that melody because the melody is so sweet. Then sometimes I have the words first and it's like I'll get a melody and the melody will have to change to accommodate all the words that I've written. So it's different. A headscarf of faded clothes. I borrow traditional rhythms. When I borrow a rhythm, then I write a song. Then when I get a melody, a traditional melody, then the rhythm sometimes is what I've borrowed.
Tulina songa twalinga bato ngate tulina chetujula mama galeta leta tanga leta jojo waleta ngana ya leta ramto twalinga bato ngohula mu sanyosa twalinga bato. Every year, Sarah puts up a concert of the music she has released that year and the old favorites. And it is that time of the year that we all get ready for the gig.
With 2 albums down the road, it has got to be bigger. I'm going to do songs from my previous album. My previous album is Katitira. It has great songs that have really to sing. They know my style, and now I have another one. In the previous concerts, I was doing mainly songs from my first album, Katitira, and like the last one I did in June, I did about 2 songs from this album that I'm going to do. But this time I'm going to give it to you all. And this time we do have, I'm working with Stella Attar, a great artist. She's a great, a celebrated artist, fashion designer, so many things. She's going to do the stage, so the stage is going to be good. And before the concert starts, we'll have a mini art exhibition. That's in the lobby at the National Theatre, because that's where it's going to be, in the lobby for about 30 minutes, and then people will get to know who Stella is and just see about some of the works that she has done. Then we'll get into the theatre, and this time, unlike many times, so and so come and sing, well, as in curtain raisers. This time we're going to hear the voice of the artists.
That marks the end of our show today. Send us mail for comments. Our address is .co.ug. And until next week, nice viewing. Welcome. Today on the Art and Design Show, we feature Uganda's opera songbirds and shimming up to the Russian hot new flavor. Visual art is rapidly becoming a much wider phenomenon not only in Uganda but worldwide. Recently, MOOBS in conjunction with Baton Rouge organized an art exhibition. We hooked up with Serena, the conference manager, to enlighten us more about the exhibition.
Well, the American community, when they come to Africa, their key interest is in crafts, is in art and crafts. And when they come here, they see it as a way of promoting Ugandans and Africans, and they feel that through crafts, that is the best way they can do it. And so we invite the business community that is dealing in arts and crafts to be able to come here and exhibit their products. We arrange one-to-one business meetings with the business community that has come from the States, so that through that they'll be able to form a linkage and see how can they penetrate the American market, or how can they be assisted on the other side to be able to penetrate the American market and sell, because that is their core interest. This is a consortium of business management and policy. This is core to the success of any business. And Makerere University Business School, that's what we teach. That's what we promote. We want to see how can business succeed, what are the challenges, what are the bottlenecks, and can we find a way forward. Linkage with the university, and the co-organizers of these conferences are from that university. So through that linkage with the Makerere University Business School, they agreed that we host this conference this year. The first one was had 5 other conferences. They've been in South Africa, in Mozambique, in Senegal, in Ghana, and in Ethiopia. This is the 6th, and it is being held in Uganda.
Visual arts and performance go hand in hand, and as such there was a cultural troupe playing cultural music throughout the exhibition. On the flyer, we take you through ways to spend less but follow some of the current hot trends, especially if you have gained a few kilos lately. First, it's imperative to know what colors complement your skin tones. Use the lighter shades for tops and deeper shades for pants and skirts. By using this technique, you'll appear slimmer and attention will be drawn to your face rather than your body. You can also get yourself a whole new look by simply buying a shirt or jacket in this season's new colors or style, a pair of pants or a top from your existing wardrobe. You can also save money by taking a pair of pants, cutting and hemming them to a popular length, or you can simply dye your jeans to a popular color. There may be some clothing items in your wardrobe that will need to be replaced. When replacing such items, look for garments that are more classic. It is less expensive to add trendy shirts in popular colors than it is to replace a high-quality pair of pants or jeans. Clothing accessories like jewelry can update and add glamour to any outfit. You do not have to purchase an expensive piece of jewelry to look trendy. Inexpensive yet beautiful jewelry can be found in shops along the streets of Kampala and in the taxi parks. Adding a couple of skirts to your wardrobe is stylish, comfortable, and cool. Skirts are popular this year and you have the length according to your personal style. They can make women feel feminine, pretty, and are a nice change from pants. You can dress skirts up for work or dress them down for an outing. The most popular styles of shirts this season are camisole and cap sleeve made out of soft, stretchy material. And colors that are being worn are brown, coral, berry, cream, pink, peach, sky blue, lilac, yellow, and orange. While choosing shirts of various colors, note that orange, for example, will match only a small number of women's skin tones. Peach, on the other hand, may be a better choice for most women. Most colors can be worn by everyone if they are in the right shades and undertones. By putting various colors up to your face and looking in the mirror, you can see if they work well with your personal skin tones or not. And remember, have your shoes match the color of your belt or handbag. Well, the season is here. Let's go shopping. The music you're hearing is of Western classical origin known as opera. In an opera, a story is expressed through drama, the voice, and musical instruments, and is often accompanied by ornate costumes and sets.
They say if you go to an opera and you don't like it the first time, you'll never like it.
We find the beginning of opera manifesting in the early 1500s with England, France, and of course Italy, each playing a leading role. This saw the rise of several prominent sopranos, tenors, and bass baritones of contemporary times. This dramatic art form soon spread to the entire world and more recently to Uganda. On the Art and Design show today, we feature Uganda's opera songbirds. They all are different personas with one commonality.
At the age of 9, I joined the Namirembe Cathedral Choir.
I've sung since I was a child, since my primary 3. You know these things.
As early as primary school, I took part in festivals, singing, dancing, stage, basically.
Professionally, that was like 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago, that's when I started reading notes and really working on my voice.
I do sing tenor. So the tenor voice is a middle range. It's really actually a male soprano.
I tell you, neighbor, just watch neighbor, please your registry. Yet I have my daughters on you see your vein. Yet I have no
Me, I'm a baritone, so I really don't go so low and I don't go so high.
I contend that this boy without a penny asked me for my daughter's hand. It's not much that I can move.
The extraordinary beauty of tone as well as impressive aura and voice is as a result of varying degrees of inspiration and guidance received along the way.
Janet Baker, she has lovely breath control.
Pavarotti. Andrea Bocelli is a blind fellow and he has an amazing voice.
With astounding versatility, they command an impressive breadth of repertoire encompassing virtually every musical style.
Etiam bel mio da qui.
I play the piano, and I'm learning how to play the violin. It's a hard instrument, but all you need is just learning how to pitch.
I do warm up my voice, and I do this at least an hour a day, so those are 7 hours a week. And then I drink lots of water, and milk is also good for the voice.
When the sun in the morning peeps over the hill and kisses the roses round my windowsill, then my heart fills with gladness when I hear the trill of the birds in the treetops and the mockingbird hymn. Tra-la-la, tweet-o-dee-dee-dee, it gives me a thrill to wake up in the morning to the mockingbird's trill.
The exceptional artistry, magnetic stage presence, and voices of surpassing beauty have served to redefine the Ugandan voice category. However, Ben is quick to add that it does not come easy.
The thing of stage, the drama and singing, that is not so. Sometimes when you sit and clench your tummy, you're affecting the support. Yeah, so you have to really know what you're doing. You have to rehearse everything. Yeah, it just doesn't come just by a click or a blink of an eye. No, it doesn't.
The golden rule with singing is that if there is any sign of strain, simply stop.
If you try notes and your voice goes hoarse, that means that you are doing it the wrong way.
If even once you've known the feeling of ardent love, its joy and pain.
With this diverse array of young talent in Uganda and infectious enthusiasm of classical music, the sky is truly the limit.
Thanks to you guys, you're here. This is one of the ways that people are going to basically know about opera and that it is there, because some people just watch and say, oh, what is this? I want something funky.
This program is not age restricted. The theme is of an adult nature, and parental guidance is advised.
Casino Simba is the newest entrant onto Kampala's entertainment scene. The logo and theme design, architectural elements, lighting, and bold graphics have been used to captivate. For the interior, a spacious, intimate gaming atmosphere has been created that takes the patrons' hassles away and helps them unwind. Palm trees, extensive wall mirrors, and lighting have been used to create a soft, relaxing atmosphere perfect for gambling. Once here, teams will go head-to-head in challenges using slot machines and a variety of table games including poker, blackjack, and roulette. The groups are split into 2 to 4 Points and cash are earned by working as a team to master the slots trivia challenge, then the finer points of poker, blackjack, roulette, and other table games. Recently, Casino Simba opened its doors to the people who love to take risks in life. Our crew was there and now brings you the highlights.
If you know which way to go.
I would like to congratulate Simba Casino, and I'm privileged to launch their beginning in Kampala.
Well, that's it for today's Art and Design show. Remember, the aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but rather their inward significance. Be part of us by sending us mail. Our address is artanddesign@ntvuganda.co.ug. Well, join us next week for more. And until then, do enjoy the rest of your viewing. to this edition of the Art and Design Show. Tonight, we observe an art that does not depict objects in the natural world. We'll learn a neoclassical ballet art form, the first of its kind, here in Uganda. These and more stories coming up. Semi-abstract art is now generally understood to mean art that does not depict objects in the natural world, but instead uses color and form in an unrepresentable way. We hooked up with Daudi Karungi, a painter who does figurative art in a contemporary overview. He recently held a solo exhibition under the theme, Shh, Kano Kapya.
I would call my movement, my ism, indigenous expressionism. And this style or ism is more of thinking something, putting it there. You know, like sort of quick response. High school, and I was joining university, I was supposed to do law. And because you apply for, you get government sponsorship or none. So my government sponsorship, because I put my rates at my choices, law and then art. And then my government sponsorship sent me to art.
Daudi's painting style is that of power movements, taking semi-abstraction into the three dimensions of sculpture and architecture.
All my works are different. Each work that I make is the only work that there is. Be made by anybody else. You can't copy it. You can't, because I can't do it again.
His latest paintings build on his signature humanistic style, which is a departure from the simpler representations of people and emotions that characterize his past works.
For the past 3 years, my works have been talking about daily social problems or social occurrences, things from poverty to corruption to love to marriage to traditional settings to things that we see every day.
With these new images come new textures, with experiments of foreign surfaces and use of textiles against moody monochromatic backgrounds being elements of his new contemporary art, which carries the viewer to a journey through the subconscious.
I use primarily acrylic paint on canvas as a material, as a surface, and I use, like from brushes to painting knives to printing rollers and this is what I use to apply, which helps me create textures that I intend to achieve.
Daudi has been exhibiting since 2002 and created new venues for exhibitions like restaurants, gardens and residences in an effort to take art out of galleries to more realistic places for the people. Washington, D.C., North Carolina, USA and Denmark. He, however, points out that challenges reflect on an artist's perception of life.
My challenges, as in my work, are around infrastructure, the fact that there's not enough people to buy my art, or there's not enough people who understand the art itself, in terms of Ugandans. Like somebody, they see a painting and you tell them it's 500,000, they're like, what? And they're like, I mean, the rest of the world understands this. Why don't you understand this,
Daudi's paintings, he believes, speak of what is happening around him, about love, marriages, children, topics discussed by different forums, which may be social or political. Expressionism is his teacher. Daudi looks up to other individuals for inspiration.
There's an artist called Paul Ndema. He's I've known him for a long time, and I like his work, and I think he's my favorite artist.
Painting is poetry that is seen rather than felt, and poetry is painting that is felt rather than seen. In more precise terms, figurative art, objective art, and representational art avoids any possible ambiguity. In this part of the show, we take a journey to fully furnished apartments, and by the end of it all, we hope that you will have started thinking in terms of color theme, furniture, and interior decor. We met Bagu Sushak, an interior designer with vast experience in construction.
A house is a house until it becomes a home. How does it become a home? Well, some of the things I really look for is, first of all, the functionality of the house. It has to have a kitchen, it has to have a living area, it has to have a dining area, it has to have a bathroom, it has to have a bedroom. Very basic stuff. But then the layout, the size of the house. But the key thing that makes a house a home is the decoration, the fixtures and fittings, the lighting, the furnishings.
It is often ignored, but color theme and lighting in a home matter, as the two affect atmospheric mood as well as feeling.
Color is such an interesting thing that you either notice it or you don't. But even if you don't notice it, it does create some kind of mood in you. The colors I personally go for are warm colors. However, there are times when I want to be totally businesslike, in which case I may go for some cold clinical colors to be more professional. Some of the cream, some of the whites, some of the contemporary. The colors in my bedroom will be warmer. The browns, the maroons, the terracotta type. However, in my living area, I would want a combination of colors. Why? Well, the living area changes. Maybe the television is on, the mood is changed. What else does color bring through? Lighting. Lighting, you can have fluorescent lights, or you can have something more exotic. Or you can have something in between. Either way, the light is shed. The light creates a mood.
A lot of interior furniture as well as wall hangings depend on where exactly you're going to keep them, or on what your existing color theme looks like.
Care has been taken on the detail, because detail actually makes something come to life. We start with our dining area. How much time do we spend eating? As a family. The dining table is ornately decorated. It's carved. It's a feature of beauty. It's wood. We go into our living room. Okay, it's an ambience with the carefully chosen sofas and settees. The lighting can be dimmed, can be strong, but the fittings actually enhance the beauty of the room. The fire feature. Yes, it's practical. Yes, it's functional. Yet it gives such a fantastic feel, having bricks very carefully designed. In our bathroom, the tiling, exquisite. Windows are very, very critical in a house, but windows are very functional. There are other ways to actually enhance the beauty of a house with a feature. And in Sunset View Homes, we have created that. You'll see block glass, but not just a huge lump, not a square. Very well, carefully designed and executed feature.
Decorating is in the same group as home improvements, as it is improving your general feel and relaxation is, in other words, remodeling your home.
Personally, for me, inspiration comes from many quarters. In Uganda, it's natural beauty. Wherever you look, there is a lot of natural beauty. From Dubai, I have received fantastic inspiration from some of the architecture and the finishing and the material and the construction. What's been achieved out of sand is phenomenal. Yet I believe Uganda has so much natural beauty that you can actually see that vision come to fruition here. That's what inspires me. Family living is a personal thing. What inspires me there is seeing my family happy in an environment which is safe, secure, comfortable.
It is imperative to know that you can have it all, but without love, it's all void. Let's share some love in our homes, and in each one's capacity, make our homes worth rushing to. On The Flair today, we meet a fashion designer who is completely and utterly obsessed with fashion. She's not attended any school of fashion, but her creativity, dedication and hard work convinced her to join the world of professionals.
You know, when you have something, it can't hide. Like, I could dress up and people could comment, you have something, the way you dress. I like, okay, you know, people comment, I could just take it like that. Then one time someone seriously called me and talked to me. He told me there's a group of people that really wanted to, okay, their group, they do some kind of work and they need uniforms and work. So I was, why don't you help those people? And I'm like, no, I can't. How? I mean, I think they're fine. But he said, no, you can. You can. I think you can do it. You can make for them like different outfits, like stylish, you know.
There are as many different ways to embark upon a fashion career as there are styles of design. After being confident that she can design, Grace decided to unveil a collection that had elegant outfits with a touch of African Impressionism.
I don't have a definite kind of style. I'm free when I'm doing something. It's just a freestyle. I do whatever I want with whatever fabric, with whatever material.
Gomo designs feature outfits for all ages and a blend of many fabrics and as many colors. Black and white may be her favorite, but she does take into consideration what the people she designs for prefer.
I use Kenti, I use Bazaar, that's African fabrics. Then I also use corduroys, I use organza, satin, yeah. I put them together, I mix them, I interchange them, and they bring out something so nice.
The most important quality that a fashion designer must possess is to be truly passionate and exuberant about fashion. And it definitely makes us proud that a Ugandan is inspired by another Ugandan.
I really admire Santa Azu's work and Sylvia Awori.
Well, as the saying goes, just around the corner in every woman's mind is a lovely dress, a wonderful suit, or an entire costume which will make an enchanting new creature of her. We leave you a peek into Gomo Design's fashion show. And finally, it's a core classical dance form. Everything has rhythm, everything dances. Simply put your feet in the air and move them around. This one, like Miss Uganda's second runners-up 2007-2008, for the elegant solo dance form she performed. Sarah, an international relations student and private music, and can African, rock and roll, R&B, you name it. The dance steps you're currently witnessing are a contemporary blend of ballet and modern dances. George Balanchine is often considered to be the first pioneer of contemporary ballet. Today, the style he developed is now known as neoclassical ballet, a style of dance between classical ballet and today's contemporary ballet.
I love soul dancing. I love dancing where I have to use the soul, not just body movement, but also the mind and the emotions. That's why I preferably dance ballet. I started, I think, when I was little, nursery school. Then I went on secondary. I was performing in MDD, all these performances in school. I've always loved dance.
Sarah enthralled the audience by using flexed hands and occasionally feet, turned-in legs, off-centered positions, and non-classical costumes to distance herself from the classical and romantic ballet traditions.
Stage movement, the stage management. You have to move the stage and then captivating the audience. You have to do something that captures their attention and like you involve your emotions and you involve the audience you're performing with. That's the solo dancing. It has to. It's more intertwined, the movement and the emotions.
The dance permits a greater range of movement that may not adhere to the strict body lines set forth by ballet technique. They, however, require considerable energy, confidence, and self-esteem.
I see ballet as like a dance which is like international, a dance of the soul, a dance of the emotions, a dance that speaks to people, right? That speaks to our surroundings, that speaks to the things that happen to us. So it's not something that is Ugandan or secluded to a particular area in time. So it's something which you can communicate to someone in Europe and they understand, or in Asia, or wherever.
The choreography seen in performance is very diverse and generally cannot be recognized as any specific dance style. As the fields of modern dance have developed and other dance categories have become more defined, the term modern dance has become almost obsolete. Now, most styles once seen as modern dance are normally classified as being contemporary dance, jazz dance, or sometimes classical. This grace and precision executed through Sarah's feet and body are a real indicator that ballet is indeed the foundation of all dance forms. Well, that brings this edition of the Art and Design Show to a close. Join us next week for more. Until then, enjoy the rest of your viewing.
It is June 17th, a few minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock, and we do apologize for the late start. A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to NTV Weekend Edition. Mixing religion with politics, President Museveni vows to call a conference of all bishops, sheikhs and other religious leaders to hear their views concerning the restoration of term limits. Museveni says these issues have been discussed for too long and he has no time for them. We'll be sure to have your say on that in our NTV Weekend poll tonight. Plus, in Health Focus, caring for your teeth. Find out how best to keep the sparkling smile. So don't go anywhere this Sunday evening. Our newscast starts right now with the main headlines.
Teaching me about politics, which is not an easy enterprise, because I really know quite a bit about politics.
You can't teach me politics. President Museveni attacks religious leaders for debating term limits and calls for dialogue.
Just a day before the Gacaca court system here in Rwanda is closed, the international community has converged to discuss the way forward. Join me, Craig Kadoda, for more on that story.
On this week's political feature, I'm also trying to bring you what analysts think of last week's budget, where they think that most of the things were not tackled and what the public needs to hear.
The National Beach Soccer League resumed today with several referees' decisions put to scrutiny. Join me, Alfred Odom, for the story on how the officials appreciated the situation in Entebbe.
Once again, a warm welcome to NTV Weekend Edition. I am Josephine Karunji. President Yoweri Museveni says he is planning to hold a conference where all religious leaders will be invited to discuss term limits as they have been urging. The president said that instead of preaching the word of God, the religious leaders were intent on teaching him politics, which he says he already knows. A cross-section of religious leaders have been calling for the restoration of the presidential term limits in order to avert what they describe as political turmoil in the country. The comments came as the president celebrated the 100th anniversary of Nabumali High School in Bali. Julius Senkanwa opens tonight's newscast.
With an attempt to resolve the growing calls from religious leaders with concern to the restoration of term limits, the president is planning to organize a conference where he will meet all religious leaders who have recently led the crusade to return the presidential term limits.
I will organize a conference with you, Bishop, and the sheikhs, and you come and talk about the politics if you're interested in the politics.
Museveni attacked retired Bishop Zaka Nilingie, who has been especially critical on NRM system, saying he cannot teach him politics at any time.
Zaka Nilingie, instead of preaching the gospel, he's busy teaching me about politics, which is not an easy enterprise, because I really know quite a bit about politics.
Here is your opportunity to bequeath this country. Here is an opportunity for you to leave a legacy.
Museveni was speaking at the centenary anniversary celebrations of Nabumali High School in Mbale. The president castigated teachers for failing to advise students on the best courses they should take in order to create their own jobs after school.
There are almost 300,000 government jobs. Uganda is now 34 million people. 300,000 jobs are meaningless. So the real jobs are in agriculture, industry, services.
On his behalf, Museveni contributed 80 million shillings towards the renovation of the school.
Well, it is on this issue that we engage you tonight in our NTV Weekend poll, and tonight we are asking, do you agree with the proposal by President Museveni to hold discussions with religious leaders over term limits? I repeat, do you agree with the proposal by President Museveni to hold discussions with religious leaders over term limits? To have your say, text 8778 followed by your name and where you're texting from. We shall be reading some of your comments during tonight's newscast. Now, after the Rwandan 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, the government of Rwanda adopted a mechanism of handling the massive number of genocide suspects and restoring dignity to survivors while honoring the memory of the dead. The mechanism was referred to as the Gacaca courts, but after 10 years of the courts, the government has decided to close them in an effort to make it easy to achieve justice and speed up the healing process. This has been met by mixed reactions from the international community, as Craig Kadoda reports from Rwanda.
Scenes like this will soon be history in Rwanda after the government resolved to phase out the Gacaca courts, which was a traditional conflict resolution mechanism that Rwanda revived after the 1994 genocide. The system was of a participatory and interactive nature, where a lot of genocide survivors testified. But as the courts are set to close, now the international and regional lawmakers who have converged in Kigali, the Rwanda capital, to witness the closure are crediting it for spearheading justice in Rwanda.
It's not an international problem. And you might explain that out of frustration that the international community, when the genocide started, did not interfere. The international community left the country and left the country in shambles. And that's part of frustration, that they say we will do it ourselves, we will show that we can do it ourselves, and it's sort of pride but they have the right. I mean, the crimes were committed here in Rwanda by Rwandans against Rwandans under Rwandan leadership, so they have the right to try those cases themselves without any international interference.
The court system that was at one time criticized by scholars because of the lack of the penal code format and was based on testimonies that were stated in a cozy and natural state has however seen a lot of people brought to justice, with their sentences being communal and served through community service as opposed to jail time and death penalties. The Gacaca court system was a homegrown solution that was set up by the people in Rwanda to achieve justice and reconciliation. Now, initially, it started off with trying close to 1,200, and at the time of its closure, it has tried close to 2 million and above. Gacaca has overall been viewed as a success because it achieved social cohesion as a means of building social society without undermining benefits of trial for the genocide offenses, dealing away with the misconception that justice equals criminal justice.
You might say that at least people started talking and started thinking about what was happening, started listening to other people, what was happening. And quite a big number of people have confessed, have done real confessions of what they did. So part of the truth has been revealed, at least.
The Gacaca court system has promoted truth-telling and emotional healing after the genocide, which has built a strong justice system for Rwanda as a country that is still recovering from the genocide. Craig Kadoda, NTV, Kigali, Rwanda.
In order to improve the diagnosis and treatment of various diseases among patients in the country, the Association of Radiologists in Uganda is embarking on a new plan to attract more people into the profession. The plan is to train them to gain the skills to operate the very latest technologies that are now being used in various hospitals across the country to help with the investigation of different diseases. With a population of over 33 million people, Uganda has only 42 radiologists.
Before doctors could start treating Vincent Okech in March, he was asked to do an MRI or magnetic resonance imaging, not the usual X-ray and ultrasound most people are told to do. Most hospitals keep away from such machines because of their expense. It is only government hospitals that have them and a few private ones.
Even from the private sector, we need support. People who can actually bring in equipment that we can use for investigating people. We need to collaborate and do this together.
According to the Association of Radiologists in Uganda, there is a great need for this high-tech equipment which can only be run by radiologists.
Like computerized tomography and MRI.
Unfortunately, the country has only 48 radiologists expected to serve a population of over 33 million people. 3 years ago, a group of radiologists formed the Radiologists Association because of the need to increase investigations into diseases which seem to crop up in Uganda with each passing day.
We hope that through this association we can advance radiology and imaging, training more people, attracting more students, and making sure that even those that are trained can get continuous professional development.
Radiology is just a 2-decade-old profession in the country, and doctors like Professor Kasozi are its main pioneers. Florence Nalimba, NTV.
It's time for a break now, but let's look at what else is coming up when we return. Keeping that sparkling smile. In this week's Health Focus, we look at the importance of good dental care. And in sport, the Cranes team firmly set their sights on the next match in September after yesterday's 4-0 victory. NTV Weekend Edition continues after this short break. Stay with us.
It's party time every day at 4:30 p.m. Feel the music. Try out your favorite dance strokes. Watch the latest music videos from artists around the world as you dance to the beat.
Girl, you got me screaming fiesta, body language saying whatever.
Only on The Beat, Monday to Friday on NTV, your official groove station. It's party time every day at 4:30 p.m. Feel the music. Try out your favorite dance strokes. Watch the latest music videos from artists around the world as you dance to the beat.
Girl, you got me screaming fiesta, body language saying whatever.
Only on The Beat, Monday to Friday on NTV, your official groove station.
To be honest, it's one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero.
Embeera y'abasajja bano essuubi nga lyakuggwamu maama bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now a reminder that in this evening's NTV Weekend poll, we are asking, do you agree with the proposal by President Museveni to hold discussions with religious leaders over term limits? I repeat, do you agree with the proposal by President Museveni to hold discussions with religious leaders over term limits? To have your say, text 8778 followed by your name and where you are texting from. Some of your responses so far, and we'll start with Juma from Busia, who says no need. What is important is that even the president knows that the term limits are important and it was wrong to remove them in the first place. Another response comes in from Kasozi in Entebbe, who says, yes, because dialogue is the best way to resolve issues. But the president needs to understand that God wants clean leadership, so he has to consider what the religious leaders advise him. Our next response comes in from Dr. Byuma in Karale, who says, no, President Museveni should simply restore term limits without more costs on organizing a conference with the religious leaders. Well, thank you so much for those responses. We will sample some more towards the end of tonight's newscast. Now, following the budget that was read last week, analysts have been poring over the speech as they assess the winners and the losers, as well as the significance and the implications of the budget for us all. Of particular concern has been the introduction of 18% VAT levied on piped water. However, others have complimented the government for the increment on the tax threshold for pay-as-you-earn. All the changes outlined in the budget will take effect from July the 1st for the new financial year. In this week's topic, political feature, Maurice Ochol assesses the budget.
Once again, it was that time of the year when the country discovers the budget plan for the financial year ahead. The Finance Minister, Maria Chwanuka, pointed out some of the key issues, which included a salary increment for both primary teachers and science teachers in secondary schools. Caucus Odinga, political analyst, views this year's budget as one in which most Ugandans have shown more or less interest in.
Ugandans no longer take the budgets seriously. Each year, people used to look at that briefcase and then the minister poses for pictures and then you see it would raise interest.
Analysts also argue that although the government came up and tackled the oil sector, in the budget, however, there was very little mention on it.
After the discovery of oil, people are very anxious. People want to know how these revenues from the oil.
What is being concentrated on now are the laws, and it is very important to have those laws in place.
Basically talked about the laws that are before Parliament.
Laws are very, very important, and specifically as well concentrating on the refinery, building of the refinery.
Another of the issues that analysts and some lawmakers feel the government should have focused more on include the way in which the supplementary budget always interferes with the main budget.
Because they know that first and foremost what they are budgeting for is going to be distorted by the supplementaries. They know that very well.
The issue of supplementary budget all the time. Why should they continue bothering Parliament with the supplementary budget?
Now, some of the lawmakers argue that indeed it was an ambitious budget with 75% locally funded and 25% donor funded. However, many decry the money levied on the youth.
The young people should not be lied. Maybe if each of them is going to get 1 shilling or 1 coin or 50 shillings. Otherwise, it is not going to help. And we ask the minister actually to take back her 3.8 billion so that we can be able to look for other avenues of solving our problems.
When a youth goes to the bank to access the money, the lending institution says the government has not yet sent their contribution. But 16 billion has been put aside specifically for graduates.
Many questions are also being raised with regard to the pay-as-you-earn threshold being increased from 130,000 to 235,000 for earnings per month.
The threshold has been increased for pay-as-you-earn, which I think is a positive.
Because most of the people that should have been targeted actually earn a lot more than that, so they are definitely not going to benefit from that.
And indeed, another area in which the government was credited for was on the increase of the threshold for treasury bills.
So the increase from 20% to 30% in tax, withholding tax on treasury bills, will help us to retain some of this money into the country, and it will be good for our revenue collection. So I think that was a very, very good policy.
One of the major concerns was with regard to the reintroduction of 18% VAT levied on piped water. For many scholars and lawmakers, they didn't take this increase lightly.
Reintroducing a VAT tax on that, I think, is a bit unfounded.
People who don't access good water are vulnerable to waterborne diseases. Right. And when health is bad, you see, people cannot work, and the economy suffers in the consequence. So I thought that, we shouldn't really have levied this VAT, because even in, we have ourselves as parliamentarians, we have never been comfortable about it. So it crept in quietly, but I don't think that was a positive development.
We are encouraging, or the government is encouraging, that people should go back to the rural way of drinking unprotected safe water from the well.
For now, although government believes this budget has balanced the needs of the people with national interests, there are mixed perceptions over the decisions made for the new financial year.
But I also thought that we should put more money into agriculture, because most of the youth are engaged in the rural areas, and this is the biggest population we have.
But there are so many other schemes within the Ministry of Agriculture. There are so many other interventions For instance, there is the credit scheme, and that is 90 billion. So when you add up the money from these other interventions in agriculture, from these other schemes, we are talking of about 600 billion for agriculture alone.
Maurice Ochol, NTV.
Thank you, Maurice. Our guest in the studio tonight for more discussion on the budget. We are joined by the Member of Parliament for Fort Portal Municipality, Alex Ruhunda. A warm welcome to NTV Weekend Edition.
Thank you.
This budget has been described as a budget of winners and losers. In your opinion, who are the losers?
It's very difficult to tell between the winners and losers because this looks a fairly balanced budget. As you know, of course, the main focal areas like the infrastructure and the energy touches all categories of people. So for these macro interventions that are in the budget, it is difficult to say who is the winner and who is the loser.
But you have spoken about infrastructure and another something else. Which area in the budget do you think was left out?
Well, I think when it comes to the water sector,
the 18%.
No. I'm talking about the budget, in general, which looks at the entire water sector. It is still low. And yet, in terms of industrialization, if we are moving towards industrialization, it is extremely important that we also equally find resources for the water sector. That is pivotal it's as sensitive as electricity. So I would have loved to see much more into the water sector.
Some attention was given to the water sector, the 18% VAT on the piped water. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that is very different because when you are talking about the 18%, that's a tax, which is again levied on the water and even affecting the productivity sector because these industries have to use a lot of water. Now, when you levy 18%, that might raise the cost of production. That is at the production level. But when also it comes to the consumption level, again, that also increases quite a lot of risks of marginalizing more vulnerable people who are at the low end of income. And this also will overstretch the health budget because you expect many people to get diseases, waterborne diseases, because they will be consuming water from streams that are unprotected.
Well, the thought is now let's go back to the well.
Of course, and I think that was not really prudent because we as Parliament, we had seen this and we thought that we needed to ease the life of a local person. Now, especially in the urban areas, because when you get to the rural areas, quite a number of people access, water, clean water from the pipes. No, not the pipes, but the boreholes. But now, when it comes to, of course, it's still from the statistics at 67%. But now, when it comes to the urban areas, we are seeing increasingly very many people consuming unsafe water, and now with the 18%, that is very worrisome. So we hope, I hope the government will move ahead to implement a different cost for water, especially for the urban poor, which program they had started at National Water, but we need this to be speeded up if we are to abate the increment of health cases.
Well, the thought is the health budget is going to suffer this year because it didn't look like it was given that much attention.
Yeah, well, it was. It's a bit lower compared to the last year's budget. So I presume so that that will affect the health sector. But as you know, of course, what we have seen is the government has tried to be consistent, especially in investing in the infrastructure and energy. And I think you have to give them credit when it comes to the energy sector. When the Minister of Energy, Honorable Muloni, announced that there will be no more load shedding for the next 2 years, I think this is something we must be proud of for the coming 2 years. So we hope to see much more progress in terms of the industries.
We certainly hope. We will wait to see that before we can give a lot of.
No, I'm optimistic because so far the load shedding has reduced, and according to her statement, she says if there is any problem, then that is more technical and not the lack of power.
Let's talk about the pay-as-you-earn.
Yeah, the pay-as-you-earn, that is something also which we have welcomed, increasing the threshold to 235,000. This means, of course, with inflation and all the challenges that have been going on in terms of the cost of living, to an average Ugandan who is earning below 235,000.
It is a budget for the poor.
Yeah, I would say you can't say for the poor because the biggest percentage are not working class. We still have a significant, close to 70% still, living on agriculture, and it's the biggest employer. So much as we have seen some increment in the agriculture budget, we still have to see more of that because it still employs the biggest percentage of Ugandans.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Honorable, for taking the time to speak with us.
You're welcome.
I have been speaking to Alex Ruhunda, the Member of Parliament for Fort Portal Municipality, as we reflect on last Thursday's budget address. Now, moving on, and whether or not you paid particular interest to this year's budget, the fact remains that the decisions announced will affect us all. Admittedly, the cost of living remains high. So in this week's Personal Finance segment, we look at the effect of this year's budget on your pocket.
This was the budget week, and we wonder if you gave some thought to it. It's doubtful that your salary has been increased. If that's the case, your income is still the same. But note, VAT on piped water has returned. So add 18% of your monthly cost of piped water to your bill and see how your income is corroded. Especially for the women, notice too the tax on cosmetics. Now that calls for some thrifty behavior from our sisters.
When you're spending money as an individual, you have your own budget, just like the government has its own budget. So let's talk about cosmetics. Yeah. So Nivea has been costing you, say, 30,000. Yeah. And now it has now gone up to 33,000 or 32,000. Then you make that decision and you say, now what do I do? You still buy it, but maybe now you'll be using small portions as opposed to splashing it all over the place.
So if you must maintain a degree of your shine, you are going to pay more or be thrifty with the way you apply. Also, drinkers of spirits, more shall be demanded from you.
We are saying that maybe if you can afford to drink it, probably it's not going to hurt you from paying this additional tax.
Take a look at the budget and your income. There have been basic increments in water, spirits and cosmetics. You might have to reorganize your budget because in there will come some school fees increments and some other indirect costs as a result of this budget. Some of Setumba NTV.
And away from the budget, we move on to matters health. When untreated, a tooth will be painful, give you an infection, and you may even lose it. All processes of tooth decay. To save it, root canal, the last stage in tooth treatment, may have to be done. According to the United Kingdom's National Health Service, in about 9 out of 10 cases, a tooth can't survive for 10 years after root canal treatment. In Health Focus tonight, we tell you how a simple tool like a toothbrush used with fluoridated toothpaste can help you avoid extraction of your tooth or undergoing the very expensive root canal treatment.
For over 2 months, Angela experienced sensitivity in her teeth and she chose to ignore the signs.
I just let it pass. It would come occasionally and go.
The beauty about the teeth is that they always give you warning signs that there is danger in your mouth, but you most often ignore it. You don't want to see a dentist. Remember the time that you were having a meal and then you felt sharp pain in your teeth, which went right through your ears, giving you a headache. You just took painkillers
and the process continues. But the time will come when you'll have to eventually visit a dentist. And in most times when you visit the dentist, you'll have two options: to either extract your tooth or to do a root canal.
I chose the root canal because it wouldn't take out my teeth.
Just a pinch here.
Root canal can be done when a tooth breaks in an accident or because of gum disease, but the most common is dental caries or diseases of the root surface. The affected parts of the tooth are the enamel, dentine and the pulp, which has all the living structures of the tooth.
So the cavity starts on the enamel. It starts as a white chalky patch, then it gradually darkens, and then a hole forms. A hole usually forms as somebody is either eating, then the tooth cracks, breaks because of demineralization.
An enamel has over 70% inorganic minerals, and when these are off the surface, the tooth is weakened.
The pulp is when you start feeling pain, okay? And it's that pain that can even keep you awake at night when the hole has reached the pulp.
For decay to occur, 4 factors must be present: time, fermentable sugars, a tooth surface, and bacteria. Time and fermentable sugars are controllable.
Your maize, matoke, sweet potatoes, rice, whatever has fermentable sugar. But we have been usually told that sweets are not because they have refined sugar.
This starts the process of decay, which is controllable by brushing the teeth. Recommendation is that after every meal one must brush their teeth, but this is impractical for many people. But how well do you really brush your teeth surfaces?
We have the biting surface, the surface facing the tongue, and the surface facing the cheek. And then the other one is the surface in between the teeth. At least somebody should try, endeavor to brush twice a day.
You're also susceptible to dental caries when you do not have enough saliva, which helps in remineralizing your teeth. Diseases like diabetes mellitus reduce the saliva, so you should watch your lifestyle to keep diabetes at bay. Smoking and non-stop snacking should be reduced. Eating green vegetables and taking milk also helps in the remineralization of the enamel. When you do not do all this, you will develop dental caries, which aside from pain also cause bad breath and foul taste, sending you to the dentist's chair for extraction or root canal treatment. The root canal or endodontic therapy is, however, very expensive for most people. Some dentists charge 250,000, while for others it is 360,000 shillings. That is between 100 to 150 US dollars.
Stage 1, I take you out of pain. Stage 2, I feel the root, I measure the root, the exact length of the root, and then feel it. We go to some rubber material, we call it GP, butter pack. Okay? And then the third, we feel the top. So your tooth is dead but functional.
Only well-trained dentists can do a root canal, which has an 80% chance of success. But there are mouths that even for want of money, the dentist will not touch.
If somebody has rampant caries and the mouth is very bad, all these people in what we call a neglected mouth, okay, they just can't take care of their mouth.
Others are when one comes with a completely broken tooth to the gum level, a badly done root canal which stopped at stage 1, yet there are supposed to be 3 stages, and when someone comes with an abscess or pus in and around the tooth, which causes a swollen face.
If you got an abscess and a swelling and you ignored, it could lead to pus getting into your bloodstream.
Nonetheless, teeth have to be well cared for because of the many duties they perform.
Your life without your teeth?
No pork.
Not only pork. Just imagine that you wake up one morning and you have nothing in your mouth. We need teeth to speak. We need teeth for appearance.
Visiting a dentist at least twice a year and making a toothbrush your best friend with the use of fluoridated toothpaste as well as regular flossing will help in not sending you to this chair for a root canal treatment or extraction. You can safely enjoy your meals, refined and fermentable sugars alike, but only if you move around with this preventive tool. Florence Naliba, NTV.
Let's now take another short break. I'll be straight back with the very latest in sport.
Kwene embeera y'abasajja bano essuubi nga lyakuggwamu maama bano abasajja
bano abasajja kwera embeera y'abasajja bano
essuubi nga lyakuggwamu maama
bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale
sogera byange kubanga bana bagambanga ne bagamba ne bweyagala nkubulira ebyange ja tugende emyanzi
mpulira banyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinansi e South Africa baba bakujerega obituufu
baba banjerega oyo mufere mubbi yennyini yeetaaga miggo
omuntu wa bulijjo tomuzannyirangako abeeranga dormant volcano
bwemba mukkiriza nina takuwa mugiyita
ate takuwa gobeera mugoberezi tolowooza nti muli mulimo gwonna oyogerera omusiraamu singa naakubuuza nti katonda yagamba bw'ati yagamba atya
oba oli pasita ng'okyawa olimba obba oyenda olina abakazi basatu please heaven is waiting for you. One day you'll pay and soon your time is out.
Otiisa mmoni.
Sitiisa. Nkubulira Yesu talimba.
Ebintu mbimala mulundi gumu. Kati what I love peace.
Gwokola byo.
Wegase n'omusajja mutwale mabi.
Kwera embeera y'abasajja bano.
Essuubi nga lyakuggwamu maama.
Bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale
sogera byange kubanga bana bagambanga ne bagamba ne bweyagala nkubulira ebyange ja tugende emyanzi
mpulira banyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinansi e South Africa baba bakujerega obituufu
baba banjerega oyo mufere mubbi yennyini yeetaaga miggo
omuntu wa bulijjo tomuzannyirangako abeeranga dormant volcano
bwemba mukkiriza nina takuwa mugiyita
ate takuwa gobeera mugoberezi tolowooza nti muli mulimo gwonna oyogerera omusiraamu singa naakubuuza nti katonda yagamba bw'ati yagamba atya
oba oli pasita ng'okyawa olimba obba oyenda olina abakazi basatu please heaven is waiting for you. One day you'll pay and soon your time is out.
Otiisa mmoni.
Sitiisa. Nkubulira Yesu talimba.
Ebintu mbimala mulundi gumu. Kati what I love peace.
Gwokola byo.
Wegase n'omusajja mutwale mabi.
Kwera embeera y'abasajja bano.
Essuubi nga lyakuggwamu maama.
Bano abasajja.
NTV Sports with Guinness.
Welcome to NTV Weekend Sport. The victorious Uganda Cranes have landed a 70 million shilling bonus to share courtesy of the Federation of Uganda Football Association. The Cranes beat Congo Brazzaville yesterday by 4-0 and advanced to the second and final round of the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign. Sam Poza has the details.
The Uganda Cranes have earned a 70 million shillings bonus to share following yesterday's 4-0 mauling of Congo Brazzaville. FIFA President Lawrence Mulindwa handed over the money to team captain Andre Mwesigwa at a luncheon in Kampala.
I'm very sure that the rate at which we are moving now, we shall be able to achieve our dream of qualifying for the African Cup of Nations. Make history. We need to see history being written. 1978 is quite far. I don't want even to mention it because it is shaming. 34 years on the road, nothing has been happening.
Coach Bob Williamson hailed the team for the performance that saw Uganda once again come closer to qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations in over 30 years.
Even from a 3-1 deficit, we overcame it because you believed. I believe in you guys. You've got the ability. It's whether you've got the mental strength. It's questionable at times. You proved it yesterday. You've got that in abundance.
The players on their part believe that the team has what it takes to overcome any opposition in Africa at the next level.
I think whoever they may bring ahead of us, whoever we may encounter, I think we shall be able to match him, because we have the same standard to me, I think.
I think we can do it. I think this is our time because we had a lot of disappointments, I think the last campaign. So I think we shall do better this coming campaign.
Uganda will be playing one of this year's AFCON finalists later in September and October. The winner of the two legs encounter will qualify for the 2013 finals in South Africa. Sam Poza, NTV Sport.
Moving on, Kabalagala Rangers maintained a perfect run in the National Beach Soccer League with victory against Niger Strikers as former champions Brazza faced a setback in games played at Little Beach in Entebbe. The games were, however, marred by controversy as players and officials challenged the referees' decisions, a situation officials say is good for the game.
The National Beach Soccer League this afternoon experienced the worst scenario since its inception a few years ago. The games, which began with the defending champions Kabalagala Rangers registering a 3-2 win against Niger, were interrupted several times as players, fans and officials questioned the referees' decisions. With all these confrontations, the National Beach Soccer Association leadership believes the situation is good for the growth of the sport.
I think it is healthy for the game. It shows that players are gaining the momentum in knowing the sport further, and also it is giving us a challenge that we need to give our referees the more refresher training so that they can at least revise now and again the rules of the game.
Despite the tense situation, the games continue with the former champions Brazza falling to Nkumba University in a penalty shootout after settling for a 4-4 draw in normal time. Fisheries overcame Mengo International by 3-2, while Kaboa managed a 5-3 win over Wuru Cubs. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
Now, Vision for Africa boys team have won the first edition of the Field of Dreams Sports Talent Promotion Academy organized in Mukono town. As Sampoza reports, the one-day event attracted 8 teams in both football and netball.
4 schools for the unprivileged children, including Vision for Africa, New Kabale, Blessed Hope and Africa Greater Life participated in the inaugural edition of the Field of Dreams Sports Talent Development Academy held in Mukono town. Vision for Africa emerged champions in the football competition after beating second-placed Blessed Hope to the title with just a goal difference. The 2 teams had tied at 6 points. New Kabale came third in the boys category before Africa Greater Life came fourth. In netball, Blessed Hope emerged winners ahead of Vision for Africa. The talented kids identified from the tournament will form the Field of Dreams Academy that will give them free education on top of nurturing them into national team material.
We believe in these children, and it is our goal to provide hope for them through the vehicles of soccer and education for both the vulnerable and orphan children of Uganda. We believe in their dreams, we believe in their future, and we hope to undergird them, to uplift them, to empower them to achieve their dreams both on the football field and in the classroom.
The purpose of this tournament has been to identify their talents so that we can have a starting point and then develop them.
Women stars Ndeje, St. Mary's Chitende and Sunrise emerged victors in the Nkumba University Volleyball Open that came to a close this evening. Alfred Odong captured the final games of the competitions that saw clubs, institutions, secondary and primary schools all represented.
St. Mary's Chitende did avenge their defeat in the National Schools Junior Volleyball Championship with a straight sets win over Chinawa at Nkumba Open. Chitende took the first set 25-20 before sealing their victory with a 25-22 and 30-28 win in the second and third. Trust High beat Club 61 in the best of 3 girls final, the first game 25-15 and 25-11 in the second. Nemo Stars were 3-2 winners over Sportes in the men's club final, Ndeje beating Uganda Christian University in straight sets in the women's event.
The tournament has been very, very successful, simply because most of the universities had closed. But when you look at the turn-up from clubs and the secondary schools, I'm personally impressed by the number of teams that have taken part in this year's event, and most especially the primary schools that have played very excellent volleyball.
The hosts in Nkumba University managed to win the institution's men's title, while Uganda Christian University returned to Mukono with the ladies' championship. Sunrise Primary School overcame St. James 2-love in the final. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
And that winds up NTV Sport for tonight. Stay with us for your comments for NTV Weekend Poll.
Are you ready to drink at the table of men?
honest, is one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero. To be honest, is one of the most scary genres of music for me. For me every day. Irifemasi nisu tadi magero.
Embeera y'abasajja bano
essuubi nga lyakuggwamu mama.
Bano abasajja abanaatera n'okujja kusigiriza ffe ekiro basituleko emiwumbo gy'emmere bagitwale.
Sogera byange kibanda bana bagamba nga bagamba ne bwagala nkubulira ebyange jja tugende emyanzi.
Mpulira banyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinnansi.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's look at some of your responses to a poll question where we asked, do you agree with the proposal by President Museveni to hold discussions with religious leaders over term limits? And what you had to say, we start with Lamek Chimba, who says 100% religious leaders swear in the president. They are the voice of God, so it is high time they tell him what God says about term limits. Stephanie Tumesije says, no, I think religious leaders are slowly diverting from God's work and continuously indulging in earthly things. Religion and politics should never be mixed. Another response comes in from Roberto Alule, who says, I think time for talks is over. He should only plan a harmonious transition. In Africa, actions speak louder than words. And finally, Alex Bahati says, why didn't he invite such discussions when he was going to remove term limits? Reinstating term limits is not negotiable. Term limits are a necessity in our democratic process. Well, thank you so much for all of your responses, and those responses conclude NTV Weekend Edition for tonight. NTV Tonight will resume tomorrow, so keep it right here with NTV. I am Josephine Karanji, wishing you a good night and a lovely week ahead.